This is James Arnold Taylor, voice of Obi-Wan Kenobi. Welcome to a more civilized podcast. This is the podcast you're looking for. You may not go about your business. Stay here, listen, and then move along.
Well, hey there, Star Wars fans. It's Kyler.
And Chris.
And I'm Ross.
Who's almost dead.
Yeah. My body is trying to die.
Yep.
That's okay.
But unlike the past, yeah.
Tyler and I will give him some of our life force.
Yeah,
and bring him back. And then when we die, he's just going to say, well, too bad for you, suckers.
Yep.
That's right.
And no one's ever really dead, Ross. Just remember that.
That's right. No one's ever really gone. They can be dead.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Until we decide we want to do more Kylo Ren stuff, and then we conveniently hand wave it.
For sure. Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, he is in the middle of a cloning facility, after all. Should be an easy fix.
I've seen a lot of people unhappy about how that went, who have been all like, well, but he doesn't necessarily have to be dead. Like, there's this or this established that on Exegol there is a portal to the world within worlds, and da-da-da-da-da. And I'm just like, stop, people.
Okay.
Like, you cannot make this, two wrongs will not make a right. You cannot make that mess better by being more messy.
Unless you think you stumbled into this episode by mistake. This is not, in fact, our Last Jedi episode.
Yeah, that's just going to crop up periodically from here on out. But.
Yeah. So today we wanted to first off wish you guys a belated Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, because today is 2020.
Yes.
How crazy
Merry
is
New
that?
Year.
Yeah. So Merry Life Day and Happy Alderaan Destruction Day. I don't know. But yeah, it's 2020. We are here in a new year, and we've got a couple of lighthearted episodes scheduled. They should be pretty fun. I'm particularly looking forward to next week's episode. That's going to be good and silly. It's been a while since we've had like a truly shenanigans episode, so
that'll be good.
It'll be good.
Actually going to record that a week apart so that Ross has a chance to not be half dead.
To not be dying.
It'll be almost like we're a real podcast that records weekly.
Yeah.
Almost.
My wife's going to be displeast. She's like, you've been recording every week. And I was like, well, it's all right. After this, we're back on 2 weeks. Oh.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, sorry, Jess. Sorry
yeah. But anyway. Oh, I wanted to... You know what? I'll save it for the end of the episode so I have time to prepare. Never mind. Ross, go ahead.
Oh.
Do your thing. I refuse to give it a name.
The newsy news, Kylie?
The newsiest. I even told Kyler when he got here. So I was thinking about just not even being on the episode at all altogether. But then I was like, but Kyler, if newsy news isn't said, I will make sure to cut it in the edit. So
I got you back, man.
Thank you. Yeah. Well, see, and I was worried because I think if I can correctly guess how he would intro not the newsy news, I could probably cut it together to make him say something about newsy news. But
Stop that.
That would be hilarious.
I had a couple
Find
ideas.
an old episode where he's complaining about newsy news, take newsy news out of that, and have him say
Don't
newsy
you
news.
dare. I will shut this podcast down.
Unlimited power!
All right. So this week in the news, we're starting off with some Mandalorian season 2 news. At least as far as us, we got to finish the last episode of the Mandalorian today. We probably had to do a wrap up on that. We don't have that scheduled. Oops.
It's coming up.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. I haven't looked ahead. So we have Carl Weathers talking a little bit about season 2. We know he said in the past that he was going to be in season 2. It was also reported that he was going to be actually directing a couple episodes in the next season.
I hope we get some Reading Rainbow references.
Was he?
Yeah, Carl Weathers.
I don't understand.
Wasn't that Carl
reference.
Weathers?
That was LeVar Burton.
LeVar Burton.
My bad.
Chris
Apparently
does
I'm
not
super
know his
racist.
actors. We have talked about this before, that he thought like Fetch. What was his name? Thor's dad. You messed that up.
Oh yeah, Chris Pine and someone.
Yeah.
No, not Chris Pine.
Chris
It was-
Hemsworth. It's Chris Hemsworth was.
That was one.
That
But
was
no, you
Thor.
said like Kirk Douglas was Thor's dad.
Oh
and
yeah, I
it's,
did. No, I'm actually usually very good with my actors, so it's particularly embarrassing there.
Yeah. Anyway, he has recently stated a little bit more about his character coming up in season 2. He says, I think Grief's backstory is more saved for season 2, but you get some glimpses at Grief and who he is through the stories in the first season. There's some real strong indications that give you some idea of who he is, but we never let on completely. So it sounds like that we might be getting more Grief lore for you in season 2, which will be interesting. I mean, he's he was one of many characters that weren't really utilized to the fullest in this season. So hopefully they'll.
Same thing, I believe. Moff Gideon. I forget the actor's name.
Giancarlo.
Yeah, that's right. He said as well, like, to expect a lot more of his character in season 2. So
Yeah.
I'm quite excited, especially after this final episode. I was like, okay, we're in a good place for a fun season 2, I think. So.
Well, and I was kind of disappointed that they said goodbye to Gina Carano again. I was hoping that she would be more permanent for the second season.
I think she will. We'll see her again.
She'll be around.
She'll definitely be
obviously,
seen,
but
yeah. But I don't know. I was hoping for a more permanent role, but whatever. Anyway, on to more Mandalorian news, because now that, Star Wars has had a major movie release, that's all that's really going on currently. We have rumors on our mysterious shadowy figure that we saw a couple episodes ago in The Mandalorian.
Bum, bum, bum.
So,
mysterious shadowy figure.
on the episode where that Ming-Na Wen's character was in for like 2 minutes.
Oh, the one
They
that
step in.
went to her body.
Right, at the very end of the episode.
Cool, yeah. Forgotten.
So, there were some very interesting things in the episode that gives you some clues as to who it is. Namely, the spur sounds as the person is walking up on the body. At first, this is where I'm ashamed in my Star Wars knowledge, because I had no idea who that was at first. But there have been some connections made.
Some speculative connections.
Some speculative
This is all
connections.
possibility.
But again, yeah, we'll get into it. So, at the end of the episode, you have this figure walking up to Ming-Na Wen's character with spurs. Originally, you think, well, that's just sort of that's kind of a weird sound effect that you've never really heard before, but that's not true. You have heard it before in Empire Strikes Back.
And I don't remember that at all.
At watching it, I don't, but I went back and watched, and it's there.
Did they add it in after or something? Because I need to go back and
I don't think they did. I don't think they did add it in after, because it is just such a random thing. But anyway, you hear spur sounds along with the marching of Boba Fett as he's walking across. As Luke is entering Bespin and starting to sneak around, you see Boba Fett and the procession heading out to his ship, the Frozen Han and Carbonite. Yeah. And you hear spur sounds, especially as he walks around that corner, and then they start blasting at each other and you can't hear anything anymore. But that's where I noticed it for sure. I think someone was saying there's another scene that you can hear it, but it's obviously spur sounds for his feet, definitely.
And I heard somewhere else as well that somebody was saying that that spur sound for Boba goes all the way back to the holiday special when Boba was first introduced, which I don't remember either, and I'm not going to go back and look.
I wasn't willing to take it that far. But there was also one of the other podcasts that we listened to was mentioning how an old, one of the original names before they really named Boba Fett was the Gunslinger,
right? And that's
which was also the name of the episode.
Yeah.
So,
who knows?
Interesting. I find it somewhat compelling, but we'll see what happens. It doesn't necessarily have to be. But, yeah, we'll see. That's almost actually, well, we'll talk about it later on in the Mandalorian episode, but that's who, in this last episode, when those doors open and he's just been saved by another Mandalorian. Because they didn't show his face. You couldn't see the colors on the armor. I was like, oh, maybe they're pulling Boba Fett in here because they gave you this tease that they're apparently not going to do anything with in the season. But they didn't, so who knows. More season 2. And finally... Oh, are you going to say something?
Nope.
Oh. Finally, my favorite bit of news, which helps me heal in this time of trial. Matt Martin, who is part of Lucasfilm Story Group, has confirmed through Twitter that Palpatine is not Anakin's father. Apparently it sounds like this has happened more than once, but I'd only ever seen it this last time. Every so often, people will send images of the comic that has Palpatine being all creepy around Shmi as she's pregnant and saying that's the Palpatine creating Anakin thing. They'll post that picture to him and be like, hey, so is this a thing? And he'll respond, no, Palpatine is not Vader's father. He says that he's gone into more depth into it on other posts, which again I have not searched, but I will definitely at some point. So,
and I believe when that theory first came out, we've talked about this theory before on this podcast, And I believe, and I want to pat myself on the back here, so all of you buckle up. I believe I did say, look, this is all happening in a dark side force vision that Vader is seeing. The dark side is deceptive and dishonest by its very nature.
Sure.
There's nothing that the dark side could straight up be lying to Vader, or it also, more probably, is literally just a visual way to depict Palpatine pulling strings and orchestrating things, not necessarily meaning that he is specifically impregnating or inseminating artificially in some way Shmi Skywalker, that it's just that he's generally been a evil presence in Anakin's life for a long time.
Yeah.
And that it's not anything more than that. And so I was really felt happy to be vindicated by someone with authority to vindicate me.
I still don't buy it. I mean, it's not on screen. Like, everything we've got on screen or on comic points towards that. And the fact that we've got someone off screen saying, like, no, that's not what that means. I'm just like, that's nice. J.J. Abrams is saying a billion different things left and right of like, oh no, this was totally what's going on there. And it's pretty clear that there's a lot of people just making crap up off the screen. So I don't care what they say. Still obviously where that's pointing, so.
That it's pointing to Palpatine.
That
Being
Palpatine and Plagueis created Anakin, yeah.
Huh.
That's
interesting.
We'll have to.
I disagree.
Yeah.
You didn't last time we discussed this.
It's true.
I'm pretty sure I did.
No, you've always been on my side with this.
That they...
Because it was always us against Ross.
Yeah, it was me ranting at how dumb it was, and you both were like, no, it's fine.
I'm pretty sure... I'll go
Apparently you rented well.
I guess.
Wow. Yeah, no.
Steven.
Anyway, fact check us.
Oh, no, wait. It's Lindsay.
I was going to say, Lindsay fact-checked against our own canon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So take a break,
Or
Steven.
Kelsey.
Yeah, or Kelsey.
Yeah.
I also saw on Twitter this morning a report. I'm going to add a little bit of newsy news here.
Woo!
That, it's the newsiest of news.
To Ever News.
It's so newsed. That the season 2 of The Mandalorian is supposed to be coming in fall 2020.
Yes.
Oh, I did see that actually
that
this morning.
came out
That's right.
today, as of this recording.
Yeah.
Because Favreau also posted a picture of a Gamorrean sculpt.
Yeah,
is what it looked
that'll
like.
be cool to see. Hopefully, we get a little bit more of their culture and character than just I'm a guard who gets choked and eaten.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So.
Yep.
Cool.
Anyway.
So that's the news.
That's the news.
The newsy news.
The newsy news.
So we hope you are all enjoying your fun new toys that you got for Christmas. This episode was originally going to air on Christmas, and so that's why it was so thematic. But anyway.
But, I mean, at least this way we can talk about what we got for Christmas. We wouldn't have been able to do that when we were recording before Christmas.
Right.
Because, of course, none of us knew what we were getting in advance.
Right.
That's right.
Because Santa Claus has not come yet.
Yes.
But now he has, and so now I know. Did you guys get anything Star Wars toy related?
Toys?
Not toy
so
related.
much,
Yeah, I got a cool Star Wars shirt that I'd found on Amazon that Carrie got for me.
My parents went all out.
Oh.
They got us the Millennium Falcon cockpit, sunscreen, sun visor thing for your car.
Oh, nice. That's nice.
They got me and my wife a Darth Vader helmet and Stormtrooper helmet, respectively, keychain thing, which was actually way more useful than they probably anticipated because my keychain was all bent and wonky and I needed a new one anyway. So, hey, that worked out.
There you go.
And I think that was it. I got battle foam, but that was just to hold my Star Wars toys.
That's right.
So,
So it half counts.
Yeah.
I got a couple Last Jedi shirts, which I'm wearing one right now, and I got those
it's nice.
those Star Wars pajama pants that I
Oh, yeah.
posted.
Oh, that's right. You did. So you
Pretty
did.
pleased with it. They're really soft too, and they have pockets.
There you go.
And then my shirt was it's a picture of Yoda on like it's put on a piece of paper that you would find posted somewhere.
Yeah.
And it's cut like those little tear and take one things,
yeah.
And all of the terrible pieces of paper are different Yoda quotes. So it's Yoda wisdoms. So
That's awesome.
yeah,
That's
I liked it a lot.
We got my sister got some action figures for them. So Dean got a Yoda action figure and a Spirit Yoda, Force Ghost Yoda action figure to go
There
with
you
it.
go.
And then Malcolm got a Poe Dameron with a BB-8, which it was really enjoyable watching them geek out over that. They were just fighting over who got to play with Poe Dameron, and I was like, you boys don't even know who Poe Dameron is. Like, they haven't gotten that far into this yet. And I'm just like, that's hilarious. But
It's because he's so handsome.
he is. The action figure's okay.
Yeah.
It doesn't capture.
It's hard
his-
to capture
Yeah,
that
exactly.
amount of
Doesn't
seduction
capture
and
his true
smolder.
glory, but
And I'm sure they do a lot better than they used to do on the action figures.
The old
yeah.
ones are.
These are the ones that are like, they look like they're Disney Infinity statues, but they're actually just made to be
Oh,
action
okay.
figures.
Yeah.
And they already had a Darth Vader one, so now this will go with those. And
Nice.
yeah.
Oh
And
boy.
then I'm sure I got them something. We got something else Star Warsy, but I can't remember off the top of my head.
So this episode is going to be a lot of story time, I'm sure, with all of us as we wax nostalgic for Star Wars toys.
We'll see. I didn't Star Wars toy a lot.
Really?
Yeah.
I've even, just so you listeners know, I've even pulled out some of the toys that I had at hand. I'm trying to find the old box of all my old action figures, but I don't know where it's gotten off to. So.
I have a story that answers that exact question when we get to the action figure section.
The answer's where
my
box that
box
he
of
was
action
just looking
figures
for
is?
is.
Yes.
Or
Yep.
you could tell me now and I can go get them.
Nope. Not because it won't do you any good.
I'm betting that means it's probably somewhere visible that I've just not
Nope.
noticed.
Nope.
Unless you have it.
No.
It means it's been destroyed. It no longer exists.
Well, that would be very sad.
It's not in our archives, Ross.
That's so funny that you brought that up, because I was literally, while you were talking, I was like, oh, that's right. Okay, I'll tell that story later. And then you're like, I wonder where this box is. So there's a preview for
You
later in
didn't
this
tell him
episode.
not to look for it. He spent like
Yeah.
5 minutes on that.
No, it's fine. We'll get there. It'll all make sense.
Okay.
Terrible.
Cool. Sure.
Everything is
JJ.
proceeding as I have
Sure.
foreseen. Oh boy. So the first category, I guess if we want to call it that, of toys that we want to talk about is Micro Machines.
Yes.
These were some of my favorite toys. I remember. I've got some facts here. We ready? So Star Wars Micro Machines were produced by Galoob, which then was bought out by Hasbro. From 1994 to 2002, they were produced.
Right.
And then they've brought them back again in like 2015 for Force Awakens, but they're crap. The new ones are garbage compared to the old ones.
Bummer.
Like, they're all the colors are way more muted and basically look like an off-white gray, and there's like hardly any contrast and stuff. The old ones are really well painted and fun. Anyway, yeah, so hopefully, actually, some of you listeners might be too young to know what Micro Machines are.
Yeah.
Oh, I feel old. Because everybody our age knows what Micro Machines are. Even if you didn't have them, you knew what they were.
Yeah.
Because I remember getting Micro Machines like that were like Army guys and stuff like that. And then they came out with Star Wars ones, and I was like, Mom, Dad, birthday, Christmas, just all of that. Get it to me.
Let me make this simple for you for a while.
Yeah, exactly. And they were fantastic. In fact, the first thing that I bought with my own money that I had worked for and earned was the Battle of Hoth playset. And it was $10. And I worked with my dad. Like he took
To
me
be fair, it's $10 in the 80s. So I mean,
No, this was like, let's see, I was
that's
8
right. I'm
years
sorry.
old.
I meant 90s.
So
I meant
yeah,
90s.
mid 90s,
Mid-90s.
early 90s, something like that. And so I'd worked really hard for my dad, and he gave me the $10, and I was like, oh sweet, like let's go to Kmart. That's how old this story is. Let's go to Kmart, or was it Shopko? No, it's Kmart.
I say Kmart's only closed down a few
And,
years ago. That's not too old. You're fine.
And only this was back when they were still nice and had product
Right.
on their shelves.
Yeah.
Because like the last 7
That's
years
fair.
of Kmart, it was like threadbare. Anyway, and I went and got this, and it was awesome. Played the crap out of that. I had the ion cannon that would actually rotate and stuff.
I think I remember seeing those. Yeah.
Yeah, and it came with like an ATST and somebody on a Tauntaun. I didn't know. I can't remember if it was like supposed to be Luke or Han or somebody, but had a snow
you can't
speeder
tell at
and
that
everything.
scale.
Yeah, exactly. And it was super awesome. So like the little people that were, and they're not to scale with each other, by the way. Everything's horribly out of scale. The guys are like half as tall as an AT-AT. But the guys are probably only a centimeter and a half tall, something like that. I mean, they're way short.
Yeah.
The AT-AT was like one of the tallest minis in there, and it's probably maybe 2 inches tall.
Mm-hmm.
1.5 long, something like that. I mean, they're just little. They're micro machines, right? So these Micro Machines started out like doing cars and stuff like that, like little miniature toy cars. And then they started doing Army guys, then they got Star Wars. I had a buttload of these. I had so many. I had TIE fighters and TIE Interceptor, Bomber. I had an A-Wing that looked really cool. X-Wing, B-Wing. That was one of my favorites. Jabba's sail barge. So cool. They didn't really do too many of the land vehicles, but I guess there weren't too many to be had. One that I always wanted, though, that I never got, was the speeder bikes. There was a set that had like a pair of speeder bikes. I'm like, those look so cool. So when Force Awakens came out and they re-released a bunch of these sets, even though they didn't look as good, I still went and bought one that had a double speeder in it because I was like, dang it, I'm an adult. I can get this. No one can stop me.
Yeah, I can buy as many toys as I want.
Exactly. So I did, and then gave it to my girls as a present so that I could justify getting it. Be like, well, it's a present for the twins, you know?
Yeah.
Which, Chris, that financial ability expands when you have credit cards.
Hey! So
That's
does
why
debt.
I don't have them.
Yeah, exactly.
Please do not go to a More Civilized Podcast for your financial...
Yeah.
Yeah.
For real. Oh, man.
Unless it's to share your financial needs.
Yes. yes.
So Chris already said that he didn't have any Star Wars Micro Machines.
I
Ross,
had very
what did
few
you
Star
have?
Wars.
I started with the Action Fleet stuff, which I still have actually sitting around. That was kind of the next size up. They did a little bit better with
That was
scale.
the set that I had.
Nice, yeah.
But Micro Machines aren't really my thing. I liked the more the size as I point to my X-Wing that none of you guys can see.
This ship is like
we're going to get to
6
that.
inches long.
because I think they did a lot with the Action Fleet stuff. But yeah,
they had a lot of cool sets though. They'd have different themes. So StarWars.com actually has an article on this from 2016. But they had the Death Star set, they had the Ice Planet Hoth set, they had Endor, they had the Dagobah, Tatooine, and then they had a Rebel transport. So Micro Machines would often do this. They'd have a big vehicle that would then like unfold like a transformer and be like a whole separate like playset on the inside. So they had the Rebel transport, one of those, Cloud City.
did they have Jabba? Jabba the Hutt?
They had Tatooine. It looks like Jabba's palace was like in there. So you had like Jabba's palace next to a Sarlacc.
Okay.
And but I wanted the Hoth one because that looked cool. Because I already had enough. Like, they didn't do really capital ships too much. I had a Star Destroyer, I guess, and the Super Star Destroyer that came in a set. But they really only made like the Starfighters and stuff. And so the only ground set that really interested me was the Hoth, because that was the biggest battle. So I was like, well, let's do this. Well, I guess
Biggest battle that they had.
Yeah.
Represented.
Yeah, because the Endor set wasn't really as cool as the Hoth one.
Yep.
But, oh man, Micro Machines. And they, just to give you guys an idea of how wonderful the days of yore were, you could get, so they usually came in a set of 3 vehicles, and then you would sometimes also have like 2 guys in there. So you could get like 3, like, a TIE fighter, an X-Wing, and a TIE bomber, and 2 stormtroopers for like $3.99. It was fantastic. They were so cheap. It was just great. Oh man. Now they're like $40 on eBay and stuff. That's crazy. Do we want to say anything else about
Micro Machines?
Yeah, I didn't really have a lot of
Yeah, they're
experience with them. So
Yeah. I remember seeing them on occasion, but that's... I was just thinking through, I was like, how did I not have more, because I love Star Wars, how did I not have more toys? And then I'm thinking back and I'm like, yeah, I had a weird childhood. Like, I was this really weird, like, no middle ground kid where it's like, if I was playing, I was either outside, like, with sticks, climbing on the mountain and hitting things and people and, or I was inside with a book or a movie, and that was like no middle ground. Like, I did have toys and stuff, and especially a lot of Legos, and we'll get into those in a bit. But
yes.
But I didn't do a lot of that.
I mean, again,
I did have toy lightsabers.
You are lucky.
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
I
they
never
were
got 'em.
knockoff cheap. Like,
Well, yeah.
not, you know.
They were
I didn't even have
laser
those, though.
swords.
Yes, they
Yeah.
were laser swords. Or I've got pictures of me from back then where I'm like, yeah, that looks more like a lance or something, like a knight's lance, where it's got this narrow handle and this wider blade that narrows down to a point. I'm like, but it was a lightsaber for me, so
right.
that's
Yep,
what
that works.
Yeah.
What matters is that it retracted in. You could fling it out, and then you could stab things, and it would look like they got stabbed.
Yep.
But if you fling the thing out too hard, it would stick, and you actually would kind of hurt
Or
people.
something. Yes,
Yeah.
all the time.
So-
They still work that way. They still haven't fixed that problem.
Yeah, I
that's
bet.
true.
But
I remember there was another set that I always wanted that I never got because eventually Micro Machines got wise to the fact that people wanted to have like a lot of like infantry or guys to play alongside their vehicles. So they first started doing this with like their World War II like army guys, where you could buy like a set of like 24 guys for your $4.99 or whatever.
Yeah.
And then they came out with Stormtrooper packs of those, and I was like, "Mom, please!" And then never got them.
man, it's
I
too bad.
know. That's too bad. Oh well. I'm an adult now with cooler toys.
Yeah. I do have moments sometimes where I'm like looking over my kids' toys and I'm just like, man, spoiled brats. Let me tell you, we're not even that well off, and you've got all this crap. How
No
is-
kidding, right?
What?
Well, and I always think more of, man, your action figures, their elbows bend. We had to have just straight arm toys and like
yeah,
it.
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
We just had to be okay with it. That Poe Dameron that my son's got, he's got a blaster that you can hold in his hand, or you can put it in a sheath.
That's a
He's got
really
a
good
helmet that you
segue
can
to the
remove and
next
put
one.
on.
Let's talk about action figures,
figures.
/ the Black Series, which is the one that's like super fully articulated. You can
Yeah.
swap out the hands and
Well, but there's even a series currently that's a little bit less than that. It's not Black Series, but is still more articulated than what we had. My niece on Carrie's side has a Rey doll. It's actually, I mean, it's about Barbie sized.
yeah, the Forces of Destiny.
Is that what it is?
Is it the Forces of Destiny one, or it's a different one? The Forces of Destiny one. Well, it could be a
Because
Forces
they're a
of
little
Destiny
bit
one,
more
yeah.
stylized. They look a little bit Barbie-ish, like where the eyes are a little bit bigger.
It might be, yeah.
Because
want
we
to
got
learn-
the girls, like we got them Leia and Rey and Jin and I think a different Leia. Like one got Bespin Leia, one got Hoth Leia. Or not Bespin Leia, sorry, Endor and Hoth Leia.
Yeah.
And then Rey and Jin.
Yeah. If you want to learn more about Forces of Destiny and why it actually wasn't very successful as a line, Jenny Nicholson has a really neat video about Forces of Destiny where she delves into like doll lines for girls, like, and compares it to like Bratz and the monster ones. I forget what
Monster
Monster
High.
High, yeah, and all those, and it's like why this did not work, even though that's what they were trying to do. It's a cool thing. Like if you're interested at all, and
That's cool.
Yeah. I'd be interested
Yeah,
in why
I
that
would
didn't
be
work out
interested
so
in
well.
watching that as
it's
well.
and I'll even just the main gist of it is basically just like because they were focused on producing the characters we already knew instead of making new ones, and the characters we already knew are pretty sparse. There's not a lot of women in Star Wars, and
Yeah.
it was even worse back then. And then that and they're all from different eras and different places. Like there is no like setting where you can just be like, yeah, these are a bunch of friends that know each other and can have interactions and do these things and go on their adventures like they had with all these
Oh,
others.
true.
And so she was just like, yeah, what they really need to do is just buckle down and make their own like Star Wars
All
setting where you can
female,
have a bunch of
yeah,
different, yeah. And my sister Kate is the one that pointed this video out to me, and she's just recently gotten into doll redesigning, where people take dolls and repaint them and repurpose. She built
I saw that.
Yeah, you saw it.
That looks so good.
She took
Yeah.
an Elsa doll and turned it into Deet from the Dark Crystal Age of Resistance.
And it looks like it's from
Yeah.
the show.
It's impressive. She
It's
did a heck of a
really
job
good,
on it. And
yeah.
that was her first. I mean, and obviously she's like a professional illustrator and everything, and so she's got a lot of artistic background and stuff. But even so, it's just like, wow,
Even
that is
so,
her
it was
first go
impressive.
at doing this.
Yeah.
And that's what
'Cause-
she decided. She's like, I feel like this would be a fun hobby. I'm going to make my own line of Star Wars dolls. So that's what's coming.
yes.
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, when she gets a couple done, we should totally have her on the show and do an episode about
Oh, yeah,
just
that'd be a
like
blast.
how, take us through your process. Like, how did
Yeah.
this work?
Oh, it's really
That would be
fascinating
really cool.
stuff, yeah.
Wow,
And she has
that's
gone
awesome.
in depth into like learning a lot of all this stuff. She's been like dyeing clothing and doing all this. And it's impressive.
She is stupid talented. It's kind of gross, actually.
She has worked hard to become so.
Yep.
So,
Oh, man. So, action figures.
yes.
Ross, we talked about that, how back in our day, your action figures had 4 points of articulation, 5 if you were lucky and the head could turn.
Yes. Yeah.
So they'd bend
Legs
at the
move
shoulder one way, forward, and forward
and backward,
down,
yeah.
And your legs, same thing, forward and back, and that's it. And then, if you forked out the extra cash, the head could maybe turn side to side. And
Well,
that
I
was
think
that.
it seems like, see, if I could find my box of stuff, I could actually we could pull them
it's
out.
time for a story.
Oh, is now you want to do the story? Okay, do the
yeah,
story.
yeah. So, once upon a time,
We're fascinated.
yeah, Ross spent 2 years living in a foreign country known as the Deep South.
Yes.
And I spent 2 years living in a country called Italy. And when we both were done living in those places, Ross was like, "Here, Kyler, have a box of Star Wars things that I don't want or need or use anymore." And he gave it to me. I was like, "I appreciate the thought, Ross. Thank you for the Star Wars gifts." And I'm looking at these going, I never had action figures as a kid. Don't particularly want these, but I'll hold on to them because they're Star Wars. Fast forward several years, I now have children who want to play Star Wars, and I was like, haha, children who have just got Star Wars action figures for the first time for Christmas. And they were like, "Oh man, we wish we had more of these." And I was like, ha! I've got a box of these. So I was like, "Here," and they're like, "Oh, you had these all along?" I'm like, "Sorry, I didn't know you wanted them." So it was like Padme and like a Stormtrooper and like an Obi-Wan. And I think a Luke was in there, maybe. I can't remember everything that was in there.
Okay.
So they're all mixed in now in a giant, like, Rubbermaid bucket, of various Star Wars action figures.
So, yeah, that's not all of them.
Oh.
I think what had
You just
happened
gave me
was
the ones you didn't want.
probably or the duplicates.
There was young Anakin with his backpack.
Young Anakin.
Yeah, like
Oh, little
like,
boy.
yeah. And
Little Annie.
yes, little Annie, little orphan Annie.
Because I had run into someone who was getting rid of a very, very large collection that was even larger than mine. And so, that wasn't all of them.
Way to steal the thunder from my story, Ross.
Sorry, man. Just gotta
I
keep it
thought
real.
I had the answer to that awesome question so serendipitously, but
Yeah.
apparently not.
No, there's more around here somewhere. I just don't remember where they've gone.
Does that one close?
No,
No.
no,
Okay.
sadly.
Oh man, but so action figures, the Star Wars action figures have come a long way. Well, I guess action figures in general have. So there's like your regular action figures that still, even today, have basically your 4 to 5 points of articulation. But then there's the Black Series, which comes in several different sizes. There's like a 4.5 inch, and then like a 6 inch, and then
I think I've seen the 6-inch ones.
and then they have like 12-inch ones that are like real nice, or maybe they're 8-inch. I can't remember. But so I got my girls the 4.5-inch ones because A, I'm cheap and they cost less, and B, there was a really cool ATST Black Series set but it was for that scale, and so I was like, all right, I'm committed. This is the scale we're going in. So they have a bunch of those now. They've a bunch. We had to get them several Captain Phasmas because they kept losing pieces and were distraught because they really liked Captain Phasma when they were little. And but the bigger ones though, like the 6-inch and above, those ones are really cool. They have a lot more accessories. You can like swap out the hands and stuff for like actually like clutching the pistol or a different hand, like a fist or an open hand or whatever. And they can get quite expensive, but they're really nice.
Yeah, they're super
really
detailed.
good detail. Yeah, they're pretty cool. Anything else you want to say about action figures? I was never super into action figures, so
I played with quite a few action figures growing up, and some of them were Star Wars. I remember playing with a TIE Fighter Luke. So
cool.
in the orange jumpsuit with the and
so you mean X-Wing Luke?
fighter pilot?
X-wing. Yeah, sorry, TIE Fighter.
Yeah, I was like TIE Fighter.
It's after
It's like
Christmas.
a deleted
We're
scene
tired.
that I missed.
No, that would have been cool though.
It would have been cool.
No, but they were all stuff that my friends owned. Yeah, so
Yeah.
they were the ones with all the action figures. And I was just sort of like, yeah, if I'm playing action figures, I play with them. Like, that's still my approach to a lot of things, actually. It's like my board game approach. It's just like, oh, my friends have board games. Why would I buy them?
Yeah.
I've got like 4 different groups of friends that are like couples that are just like, we own all the board games and we will collect all the board games. I'm like, okay, cool. I don't have to buy board games then. Because and my wife is unfortunately very much like, no, we need to own all our own board games. But it's so expensive.
Now I know what to get you in future Christmases.
There we go.
Yes, she does love those.
I, of course, did action figures quite heavily. I think even probably more so than you did
Oh,
back in the day.
the first action figures that I actually ever owned were the action figures that you gave me. I never actually
Were they?
had action figures. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, I got Micro Machines a lot, but those aren't really action figures, even though you have
Right.
the little
No, yeah,
guys.
yeah.
But
But I
that's what
thought-
I had. That was my jam.
Anyway, no, I even because it was with our other friend Braden. He was also into
Braden.
the action figures.
Shout out to Braden, who I don't know if he listens to this podcast.
Probably not. I
He
haven't
should,
heard.
though.
What
You
a
should
jerk.
harass him about it.
I think he, yeah. But what we would do is we would make our own like cities and things too,
Yeah.
out of like just whatever scraps of cardboard
He
you could
would
find
do
wherever.
that. Braden is a mechanical genius. I remember he built computers. Remember when we go over to his
yeah.
house and do that was so impressive to me as like a 14-year-old. Where I'm like, wait a minute, you built these just straight up built
Yeah.
your computers? That's crazy.
Yeah.
That was awesome. Good times.
It
Age
was
of
good
Empires
times. Mm-hmm.
LAN parties. Those were good. Good times. All right, those were the days. Now it's easier to do it. I don't have to go anywhere. I can sit in my pajamas at home and play it on my computer with Ross. Oh boy. Sorry. What were you saying about action figures and Braden?
No, that was just
Cities?
about it. Just that
Oh.
we would make stuff out of cardboard. So I mean, we had lots of Tatooine corn dog houses,
Yeah.
and stuff like that. I
The
think
best kind of house, honestly.
I had made a cantina out of started with as a corn dog box, and I'd made a little table and all sorts of stuff and put it in there. And you had
That's
all the
great.
action figures.
That's awesome. So you basically just made your own Star Wars dioramas for fun. And
Basically,
I now retroactively feel left out. I think that would have been pretty fun to play.
should have got. I had the land speeder, like the little car, and it had. The
I
little
remember
wheels.
you had that.
Had wheels
Yeah,
that would
that
pop
was
down and you
cool.
could roll it around. I had a. So, the Action Fleet also had the Micro Machines had their sets where it would look like something and then it would fold out and it was like a whole
Yeah.
scene. I had one of those that was a Death Star, but it was for the Action Fleet set, which was the size above. I had it sitting on my bedside table for years.
Oh, that's right. No, I
Yeah.
do remember that now. Yeah, that's
And
right.
because-
I remember.
That TIE fighter that I have hanging in the corner of
Yeah, it came with
my
it.
office here came with it, and so it would sit because you would fold out the Death Star, and it was just like a big hanger. On one side it had like a couple of tiers, like in the curved portion of the Death Star, and it had like Darth Vader's meditation egg, and I think the Emperor had a throne room, and then it had like a little refueling station for the TIE fighters and anything of that scale. And it even had a little green laser bolt that you could fire out of the main Death Star laser.
That's awesome.
just as long as you don't point it at the ground. Be careful, kids.
Yeah.
That's absolutely right.
So, Ross, you mentioned Action Fleet.
Yes. Those were my favorites.
Yeah, mine as well.
Yeah. So I think both, and that must be what I'm thinking.
Well,
of, is you
actually,
had a
my
bunch of
second
those.
favorite.
Yeah. Mostly because I like them because they kind of stayed closer to scale with things.
Yeah.
So like the one I have here and the one that I've really kept as my prized piece over the years is a little 8-inch or so X-wing.
Yeah.
The wings will do the folding like they
Yeah, it's pretty cool. So it's about 8 inches from nose to tail,
Yeah.
and probably 6 inches or so wingtip to wingtip.
roughly something like that.
And if you kind of squeeze the engines together, the wings the S foils will lock into attack position.
Yeah.
The cockpit actually opens up, and there's probably a 1-inch tall figure.
I wouldn't say
bends
he's
at
that
the waist.
tall. He's pretty close, probably 3/4 inches.
Okay, 3/4 inch. Yeah, it's been a while since all my figures are lost.
Yeah.
I have the ship still, but I've lost the people.
Yeah.
And then it's got a little slot for R2 just behind the cockpit. R2 actually does come
Does
out.
also come out.
And R2 is, probably, 3/8 of an inch tall, something like that.
I mean, he's to scale with the person.
Yeah,
I mean,
with
they're
the person.
all roughly to
the landing
to scale.
gear are all retractable as well, so it can be sort of in flight or landing,
Yes.
which is
And
so
of course, the
cool.
S-Files.
Yes.
And the Action Fleet, they had a bunch of these. So early 90s, this is Galoob. So what started out as Micro Machines is basically they were like, it was the same company that did Micro Machines. They were like, hey, what if we do some bigger versions of these ships that are selling like crazy, And, I was right. 3 centimeters. 3 centimeter figures. So that is like
A little over an inch.
Yeah, that's like, yeah, you're right, Ross. That's about 3/4
3/4 of an inch.
of it. Oh, no, wait.
No. It's about
2.5
About
is
2.5 centimeters.
1 inch.
2 inch,
Okay,
so
yeah.
It's a bit over an inch. Roughly.
The vehicles were modeled in a stronger plastic than the Micro, because the Micro Machine ones, they got a little bit bendy. Like your X-Wings, like little laser things on the wings would get a little bendy.
Well, and you can see even here, even with this stronger plastic, they
could
are
you-
just a little bit off.
We should be quiet so you can hear them, like,
Oh, yeah, this is just,
Do
I
it.
mean, it's just
yeah, it's like,
plastic noise, I mean.
yeah,
They
but
click
it's
into
fun.
place.
It's the closest
And
they
I mean,
can get.
this is a what? It looks like it was manufactured in, 96, 95? So this is a 15-year-old toy? Am I doing the math right?
No,
No,
you're not.
25?
25-year-old.
25-year-old? Boy, where did the last 10 years go?
I was going to say. You wish.
Yeah, right. So I had a couple of these. Oh, and also that was the other thing I wanted to mention is every single X-Wing of this set I have ever seen, this laser cannon has always broken off. So the top left laser cannon is always broken. Everyone always has them either glued or it's just missing. But mine has done the
I
same.
think all 4 of mine are broken off now.
Are they?
So Ross, you have the Action Fleet X-Wing.
Yes.
You have the battle-damaged Darth Vader's TIE Fighter,
Correct.
which came in the Darth Vader set, or the Death Star set. I had the X-Wing. Don't you have the Snowspeeder too?
Not in this.
Okay.
Not in this
Because
series.
I had the Action Fleet Snowspeeder.
And I think you also had an Imperial shuttle. I remember being jealous of.
Yes, I had the
and-
Imperial Shuttle. I had Darth Vader's TIE Fighter, the non-battle damaged.
Yeah.
But there were some sets that I always wanted but never had. Like, there was like a TIE Interceptor and Y-Wing set. And I was like, man, that Interceptor, I want that so bad. And then they had an A-Wing, which I wanted. They had a B-Wing. I think they had Slave 1.
Probably.
They had a Cloud Car, which I couldn't care less about because it's a fugly piece of garbage. I think they had the Falcon. I can't remember. But they were really, really cool and easily the most detailed Star Wars toy that you could get that was like not a model
Yeah.
for display.
Yeah.
Because they had like models that you could put together like a model airplane or something, but those were not for children. So like these were the most detailed toys that like a kid could actually like play and go and have adventures with and roughhouse with, and they'd actually, sustain some play.
One of my favorite features was that the little guys were all interchangeable because with these couple that I still have around, I also had a escape pod from
nice.
the Tantive that came with a little 3PO and R2.
Yeah.
That was extra nice because the R2 that had come with this X-Wing I had lost.
Oh.
And so I was able to take the R2 out of there and fit it into here, and it looked just the same.
Yeah.
I had these when they were doing the special editions of Star Wars, and so we as a family had gone to watch them in the drive-in movie theater.
Oh.
22 years ago.
22 years ago. And so I had lost the little R2 somewhere in the van and was never able to find it, but it was okay because I could get a replacement from one of the other sets.
Yeah, it was really cool. Yeah, they were so cool. I remember going over to your house with these and playing and stuff. That was
Well, yeah, they're just a really great, even playable size. You know? You still
they
got the
fit
detail,
nice in your
they're
hand.
good
They're
in your
not
hand,
too
yeah.
big. These are great toys. Now, I wish they would remake this line.
Yeah, for sure.
I would be into this.
And even with better processes, because I mean, the paint on the ship itself is great, but on the little pilot and the R2 is, I mean,
Smudgy a little bit.
Not bad for that size at that time.
not smudgy. It's it sometimes doesn't quite stay within the lines that it should.
That's
in
what I meant by
some-
smudgy. Is it can get a little blurry, like blobby a little bit.
Like the little red and blue light on R2 is all red here, but it's now a square because it just fills in that panel rather than just the little dot that it should. But anyway,
But yeah, these were great toys. They were so cool.
so I've kept this one for so long.
Yep.
It's because it's just an open door.
Yep, mine are all in with the bucket of Star Wars toys for my kids.
Yeah.
Oh man, Action Fleet. What a fun thing. They 95 and 96 is when like
Those
the
are
first
in-
wave came out. It was like that winter season. So they had original trilogy 95 to 96, Phantom Menace 98 to 2000, re-releases and Attack of the Clones in 2002 and 2004. This is after Hasbro had bought them, and then a couple of ones that never got actually released. So, yeah, 95 to 2004. So they didn't run for very long, but they were dang cool. You can still find them on eBay and Amazon, but they are
Stupid expensive.
crazy expensive. Because I was thinking about that. I'm like, I'm an adult. I should get these. These were way cool. Oh, well, I'm not that much of an adult. Oh, boy. All right. I think we're ready to move on to my favorite Star Wars toys. And our
Forces of
final.
Destiny.
Oh, Ross, go ahead and talk about those ones.
Well, so I also really enjoy the die-cast ship models, and have for a long time. So this one right here is my oldest one, this little Y-wing.
I remember that one.
Yeah, because I've had it for years.
Yep.
So they're die-cast little metal or ceramic models, nice and detailed.
Yeah, the paint job is pretty good too on this.
And we'll usually have some sort of point of articulation. Like this one has like the top turret on the Y-wing.
Yeah, the
will
little,
rotate, and the little landing gear will move up and down. As you can see, this one is
I
definitely
believe
old.
the
It's,
wings on your Lambda shuttle, they fold up.
Some of these come from a new set. So this one was when they originally started doing this Y-wing was when they originally started doing them way back in the day. And I think also that Millennium Falcon might also be as well.
Yeah, it feels.
Look at the year, the printing year on it on the bottom, because these were also released in '96.
Well, this is 2004.
Is it? Okay, so that one's quite a bit newer. So they have done a couple different releases of different die-cast models. I only ever had the Y-wing from the original run. And then when I was living abroad, my mom sent me that Millennium Falcon for Christmas one year, and it sat on my desk for a long time. Actually, I think that one, of any of these, I think that one's my favorite, just because it's,
The Falcon.
I think, the most detailed.
It is pretty nice. 3 points of articulation with the guns on the top and bottom and the, radar dish.
Yeah. And then recently, because I had these out and we're doing a Star Wars podcast, and I've always used them to decorate desks. I started looking into what they currently had, and so I've got a Imperial shuttle. I have a Blue Squadron X-wing from Force
the
Awakens.
sequels,
And then I also have Luke's X-wing, and I have Anakin's second Jedi Starfighter. I didn't pull them all out just because I'm lazy, but
I can see him over there.
yeah. Now, and actually, I'm a little bit let down in the newer ones. They still look great, and I still love them. But like, there's no articulation with them whatsoever, and they're not full ceramic. They're mixing plastic with the ceramic pieces, which makes sense because if you're gonna give these to a kid and he's gonna drop them, a lot of these pieces are gonna break if they're the ceramic, and then you have little sharp ceramic pieces that potentially a small child could swallow.
Yeah.
But they still look great, and they still fit on my desk very, very well. But yeah,
Cool beans.
Yep. Well, there we go. Okay. Now for reals, on to my favorite category of Star Wars toys.
Dresses.
Yes.
Pretty dresses.
Exactly. I'm a
Padme
pretty princess
Amidala's
of Alderaan.
wardrobe.
Yes. Star Wars Legos.
So, here's a fun fact that might very well blow the mind of people who are under the age of like 24 or 5. There was a time when Lego produced only its own original sets. There were no licensed products whatsoever, and that time was every year before 1999 that they were in existence.
Yeah. Yep.
And so you had
like 40 years.
Yeah, so you'd have like the pirate Legos, and you'd have the fantasy like castle medieval Legos, and you'd have the space Legos and this, that, and the other, but they were all more of a generic setting, their own things, and that was it.
Yep.
And the very first, it's hard to imagine nowadays when you've got the Lego movies and Lego Dimensions running around
and
with
Marvel and
these
Star Wars
massive
and Lord of the
crossovers
Rings
of every
and
imaginable property
Harry
whatsoever, and the Lego and the Lego video games and everything. Back in 1998 and earlier, that was not a thing, and it wasn't until 1999 that Lego first licensed a property to make Legos themed on that property, and that was Star Wars with
Which
the
is
release
not
of
to say
Phantom
that we
Menace.
didn't make Star Wars characters out of Legos.
No, of course.
Because we absolutely did.
But yeah, that was mind-blowing. I remember
Yeah.
in 1999 when those started coming out, and I was like, wait, I can get an actual lightsaber, like a Lego lightsaber, clear and everything, like,
Yeah.
and I can pop that blade off and just have the hit that. Give
Yeah.
them all to me. I want them all.
Well, and I remember too, because Lego before this, now again, this is such a foreign concept to Lego now, but like Lego would basically be like, we've got like 24 different pieces, and whatever it is we're going to make is going to use one or more of these 24 pieces. We ain't making a dang new shape for no set.
Yeah.
And then Star Wars came out, and it was.
They
You could
decided to
see
go out on a
Lego
limb.
was just like, there's
Yeah.
no way to do these sets with the pieces we have, so we're going to make some custom pieces for these sets. Like, so 1999, like Chris said, it was the first year that Star Wars Legos came out. They came out with 13 sets, of which I owned 7.
Nice.
I only did this for the first year, so we don't have to, you don't have to worry.
And was that the year that we started giving each other Legos for Christmas?
It
Was
is.
that same year? Okay.
It is that same year.
So for as long as Star Wars Legos have been in existence,
Correct.
you two
Yes.
have been doing this.
Which means this is our
I was gonna
20-year
say,
anniversary.
2 decades. of
Wow.
doing
Yeah.
this.
Which, I
Wow,
mean, and then we
guys,
should probably
wow.
tell that story. So, Kyler moved into the neighborhood that I grew up in.
in
when we were-
February of 1998.
Yes. We became not fast friends. I do remember running your head into a light switch because I was
Yep.
angry at you for some reason. That was fun times.
That's when I learned not to push Ross too
Also,
far.
he did that back then.
Yep.
Anyway, no, but when we did actually eventually become friends, we got.
We became friends pretty much right away, but that was an odd argument.
I mean, it was the first couple of months.
When they became really
Anyway.
good friends.
Anyway,
We really did after that.
we
though.
digress. Yeah. I was over at your house and you had all these Legos and you're like, yeah, I love Legos. You know, they've always been great. And I was like, yeah, you know what? It's always been something I've wanted, but I've never had. And you were just absolutely floored that I didn't have any Legos.
It is
Well,
astounding.
the reason that I was floored is because when I was but a lad, like,
Searching for your true vocation.
yes, exactly. I was like 4 or 5 and had Legos, and because I was 4 or 5 and Legos are hard to clean up, I opted not to clean them up, and my dad stepped on them one too many times and said, that's it. Got rid of all my Legos and refused to buy me Legos ever again. And so I was always really jealous of my friends who had cool parents who would get them Legos. And so when my parents finally recaved and got Legos, I was shocked that someone else in the world had uncool parents who wouldn't get them Legos, because I assumed my parents were the only ones who were being not cool and totally lame, and you know, why you got to be a jerk, Dad, and not get me Legos that I don't clean up, you know.
Yep.
And so I
My
was like,
sons are currently in the Legos are all put away phase of their Lego ownership.
yeah, yep. And so
We would throw them all away, but those are my Legos and they're not going anywhere.
that's how I feel too. Yeah, I'm like, you will lose Lego privileges, but we're not going to throw them away.
Yes.
They're too expensive. And so that was most of my shock, was like, wait a minute. Other people's parents don't let them have Legos? What is this madness? You know?
Well, and for me, it wasn't that my parents wouldn't let me. It was just that it was just never a thing. They just never thought to give me any.
Yeah.
And fair enough, we were on the far edge of Lego awesomeness. Well, I shouldn't say that, but of Lego targetedness at the time. But that first year, we're walking through Walmart and it's getting close to Christmas time. I see this set of Legos and I remember the conversation about how much you love them, and then I saw this Star Wars set. I was like, oh, that's what I'll get Kyler for Christmas. You know,
Yeah.
it'll be fun. Come Christmas morning, I'm opening my presents and I open up the one from Kyler that he gave for me, and it happened to be the very set
The
that I got
exact
him.
same set.
Enough to the point that I was like, wait, did I not give it to him? Is this the one that I should have given to him? And then I had like
Yeah,
call
you
each other
like,
and be like,
you called me on the
Yeah.
phone and you were like, hey, did I give you like a set of Legos? I was like, yeah, I just opened it. It's the same set I gave you. And you're like, oh, okay. Like I thought
yeah. And so then the next year, walked by the same aisle that had all the Star Wars sets and was like, you know what, that was funny. I
Do you
should get him
remember
another
what
one.
the first one was, Ross?
The first one was the Droid Starfighter, as it was so branded.
Yeah, the
Yes.
Droid Fighter.
Yes.
Yes.
Now we know
droid.
it's the Vulture Droid,
Vulture-
but
Vulture
yeah, it was
Droid,
just called
yeah.
Droid Fighter.
And it was a
Yep.
particularly cool set because the wings.
Yeah,
could,
the wings
would
like did
rotate.
down and do the
Yeah.
leg thing like
Yeah.
you see in the movie. Yeah, it was way cool. So that was one of the 7 sets that I got. So they had the lightsaber duel, which was Darth Maul on the Sith scooter and Qui-Gon.
The
Yes.
blood fin,
Yeah, or whatever.
blood wing, blood something.
Something like that. They had the land speeder, which was the first iteration of Luke's land speeder. They had the droid fighter, which we just told that story, and that was kind of fun. Then we had the Naboo swamp, which had the 2 droids on the staps, the little
Oh, that's
hovering
right.
air speeders,
Yeah.
the vertical speeders, and Jar Jar and Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan. And then an X-Wing and the Naboo fighter. We got 2 of those because I wanted one, and so did my little brother because he wanted to copy me. And so first year. Oh, and the prices for these, like this was interesting to see. So the lightsaber duel, $5.99. The set that Ross and I got each other, $5.99. The most expensive set was the X-Wing.
And that was a larger set too.
Yeah, it
wasn't
was a larger set.
Yeah.
It was $32.99.
Yeah.
There are currently this year, 2019, 39 Star Wars Lego sets, ranging in price from $7.99 to $780.
And is that the Death Star one? Is that the $700 or is that the Millennium Falcon?
No, it's like
No,
it's the new Star Destroyer.
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah,
that's
it's
right.
the-
Yeah.
it's
Star
the
Destroyer.
Rise-
Forgot
Rise
about
of
that one.
Skywalker. The Order of the Stick could almost press charges for the naming of this Star Destroyer. So it wasn't Zycon, it was like Zyton or something, and I was like,
Yeah. I don't know.
Zycon's a little bothered by
He
this.
is. Well, that's where the lightning comes from.
Oh yeah,
Headcanon accepted. Palpatine is Zycon.
There we go.
If you don't know what we're talking about, you are doing yourself a disservice. Go read Order of the Stick at giantitp.com.
yes,
Well worth your time.
yes.
But I just thought that was really funny that the standard sets were $5.99. Now your standard sets are like $12.99 or $14.99, something like that. And then they have the micro sets
Yeah.
that are the $7.99 ones. And then all the way up to almost $800. You know, like that's 20 years, man. Like that is. Oh, fun fact: Legos are a better
that once a
investment
year?
than
Yeah.
gold.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
read about that.
If you buy a Lego set and let it age for a couple of years, you will have a better return on your investment than you would if you bought the same dollar amount worth of gold,
Yep.
which is ridiculous. And I have contributed to that. So one of these sets that was like a $6.99 or $7.99 set, you know, almost 20 years ago, I shelled out $25 for it, you know, and I'm going, wow, that, oh well, you know, there it is. My wife was like, well, we should buy Legos then and save them, you know, and just sell them. I'm like, true, but then we have to store Legos for
Yeah.
10 to 15 years.
And also convince Kyler to part with them.
Well, if I get one for myself, I'm okay. This is also some fun facts here. The minifigure with the first code, SW0001, was the Tan battle droid that appears in the Phantom Menace. It came in some of the
B1
sets
battle droid, yeah.
in the 2000s. That was the first minifigure to get a number.
I have them in figurine.
Yeah.
A couple of them.
Some minifigures repeatedly appear across multiple Lego sets, while others can be very rare, vastly increasing their resale value, which is true. I have paid not small sums of money for specific minifigures that are hard to find.
Yeah.
Shock T being my currently most expensive minifig, but she's really pretty, so there we go. She's great. Great addition to the collection.
How much was she? And we won't let Christina listen to this episode.
No, she knows. It was like 30-something bucks.
Ooh, wow.
Dang.
It was either that or I buy the set she comes in for much more than that.
I believe it. Yeah.
In 2019, the number of Lego Star Wars minifigures has surpassed 1,000
Wow.
with that individual unique code and whatever, with the Battlefront 2 protagonist Iden Versio bearing code SW1000. So she was the 1,000th.
So it hasn't been very long then that they've passed over 1,000 then.
Yeah,
2
just
years.
barely.
Yeah.
No, this year. It was
Was it this year? Oh,
Yeah, they came out with one of the battle packs that has her and the rest of Inferno Squad.
Wow.
It's like $15 or something like that, or 13, 14, somewhere in there. Anyway, I got it.
nice.
Yeah. Oh boy. Okay, so in keeping with tradition, we thought this would be fun to do on the show.
Yes.
Ross and I have our Legos to exchange for this year's Christmas.
Indeed. Thank
So-
you, sir. Yep, yours is there.
And I have a fun little story to tell about Ross's when he gets it open. So here we go.
This is much more exciting for me than all of you. Sorry.
Sweet.
Yeah, they just get wrapping noises, which would be normally terrible audio.
Yes.
So one of the strategies that
Ross wrapped this to be childproof, apparently.
Carrie taught me very specifically how presents should be wrapped, and so it's much.
Well, she made it more difficult than it needed to
Yes.
be, Carrie.
Nice. Our major strategy in buying Lego sets, at least mine for Kyler, is that he prefers like ones that have unique minifigures in them, and so I've always tried to
That is
find
true.
them some that have particularly unique figures.
Ross is not wrong.
I wasn't sure if you had that Darth Maul or not.
So, I don't have this Darth Maul. I have the original Darth Maul that comes with the hood
Oh,
from that dual set.
Yeah.
And I have yet to fork over the money for the Clone Wars robot leg Darth Maul, which I
yes.
want because it's so cool. My nephew has it. I keep hoping one day he'll lose interest in Star Wars Legos and I can just inherit them.
Assimilate,
Yeah.
So for clarification, what Kyler got here is the Sith Infiltrator Microfighter.
Yeah, so we were talking about these microfighters. They usually come with one, sometimes two ships, and they'll usually come with one, sometimes two minifigures. But Ross got me, the Sith Infiltrator, Darth Maul's ship from Episode 1. Darth Maul, but this Darth Maul, which is what makes this Darth Maul really cool and cooler than the one that I have, he has a different face, which is cool. He's more angry and Sithy. So that's cool. I didn't notice that before. But he also has a little headpiece that you can put like a crown on him that
has
is
the spiky
actually his horns.
Yeah.
So that's really cool. That's really awesome.
and the one that Kyler got me was a Stormtrooper set on a
Imperial dropship.
Imperial Dropship.
yeah. Now is Lego coming up with these designs? I don't remember seeing those in any shows anywhere.
No. Okay, so kind of. In Rebels, a similar looking dropship comes on the show. But I got Ross the 20th anniversary edition of a set that I have previously got him.
I was going to say yes. I do actually have this set. I'm guessing that's because of the extra.
No, I just
Comes with
figured
an extra
since
Han
it's our
Solo
20,
minifig.
yeah. So these 20th anniversary editions came with collectible minifigures in them that were the replicas of the. So right now, as I'm sure you've noticed, Lego has largely done away with the yellow skin of stuff that is for other franchises. They keep the yellow skin for their own Lego things, but everybody else, Star Wars, Lord of the Rings, whatever, they're all
There's a more
appropriate.
skin colored,
Yeah, they're
more tan colored.
Yeah, they're colored appropriately for the character that they are portraying, whether it's black or brown or beige or whatever.
Yeah.
So this set, I was looking at and trying to figure out which sets to get Ross. And I thought, 20th anniversary. It is the 20th anniversary for us of getting these. I'm going to do one of those. And then I was looking at which ones they had. And I was like, I'll get him the revamped edition of a set that I got years ago. This is one of the first sets I got.
Yeah,
you.
it was an early one. Yeah.
So this might have been like the second or third year that we did this, I think. Something like that.
Yeah.
I got Ross the version of this set. And so when I saw that, I was like, well, there's a good nostalgia set. So
You know,
I
and
know it's
I didn't even
Empire,
think about
Ross. I'm
that.
sorry.
It's
but,
fine. It's okay.
I assumed that was deliberate.
So-
Like,
Yeah, well, a little bit.
And see, I'm going to have to actually go back and look because I believe I have an original run Han Solo from a.
Okay.
Because you got me.
But this comes with a commemorative stand. For
Yes,
him to
no,
come
you're
on.
right. But like, but no, because you got me a set also early on that was the skiff, Jabba's skiff.
Yeah,
And I think he's in there.
yeah.
So I'll have to look and see what the differences are. That's
I think the idea anyway was I think it was supposed to be like a direct like reprint of the old.
Well, I can tell you for sure that the blaster is not the same.
Oh yeah,
because
the
they started
blaster's
doing-
different. Yeah.
They started doing where they actually molded actual
hate these.
originally looking blasters.
Oh
for
no,
figures.
they didn't. So the original guns were the microphones, like the
Yeah,
the
they
little
were just the
loudspeaker
repurposed
ones
microphones.
that they would put a little colored button on the end of.
Yeah, which
And
is
they-
what this
they-
minifig has. Yeah.
Yeah, they were super stupid. And then they started molding actual gun pieces that kind of looked like Star Wars blasters,
I'd say
which were
because that's
awesome.
the one. That's the one that mine has. Is it actually
And
look like a Star
now,
Wars gun?
in the last couple of years, they've changed them to be more friendly for kids, which is so dumb, and I hate it. But you can actually, like, they have like a little pop shooter thing.
Mm-hmm.
So the guns, you can actually press a little thing on there, and it pops the button out and
little-
shoots it.
little
And they
rounds pop
shoot
off.
with like a pretty decent amount of force. They'll
Yeah,
go pretty
yeah,
far.
they do.
But I
They
hate them
use
because
the
they look
force.
stupid.
Yeah.
I wish they'd go back to the gun model looking guns.
But kids like, action things.
I know.
Yeah.
Dumb kids, they don't know what's good for them.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much, sir.
So there you go. I thought that would be a fun commemoration. So, I think that was all the categories we had for today for toys.
The ones that we played with.
Oh, what are some
Yeah.
what are some of your favorite Star Wars sets that you've got, Ross?
Honestly, the ones I go back to are the Lego sets.
That's what I mean. Like, which Lego
Oh.
Star Wars Lego sets were your favorite?
The snow speeder that you got me at one point was really cool.
I remember that sat on your desk for a long time.
Yeah. Well, and here's the thing, also, listeners, is that this is because it has been 20 years, and this has been a set a year for that many years. So my
We've
desk,
got a lot of Legos.
yeah, my desk was a corner desk, right? And it was an old style, so it used to fit square monitors instead of the widescreen ones. I got it back when I graduated high school. And so what I would do is when I'd get these sets is I would build them and then I'd put them on display on the actual corner piece of my desk. And it was, a good, I don't know, probably 3 foot square space.
That filled up quick.
I had too many Legos to fit on it anymore. I could not fit things there. And so a lot of them are in a box currently.
So yeah, I would get a set every year from Ross. I would often get a set either for myself or like from my parents when I was younger and stuff. Then my brothers would ask for them, and then they stopped caring about Legos. So then I just like default was like, I'm gonna just take these now. And then like other people over the years are like, oh, you like Legos? Here, So I have lots.
Yeah.
One of my favorite sets that I have, Slave One, is great.
Oh, I don't think I've seen that one.
I got the Consular class Corvette, big set. That was really cool. Acted out a lot of Clone Wars episodes with the twins in Michigan. With that, I love the Naboo Starfighter. That was a fun set. I think it's a cool looking ship. Even the old, like the new one, obviously looks a lot better, but even the old one looked really cool. What other sets?
It's the others that you've gotten me, like the Ewok set. That one was interesting because it came with a bunch of little Ewoks and like a tree that you would put together, which had a couple little things on it.
Ewoks, those are some other expensive ones that I've
Are they?
forked out for to get my Ewok collection up to par. So I've got, I think, almost all of them now.
Man.
But, yep. Oh, boy.
I did actually buy myself a handful of sets. Ones that I bought were the, was it the LAT or something? The airship, the gunship.
You bought that?
The clone gunship. Wow. A small one, not a full
oh,
size
yeah.
one.
Oh, I remember those. Yeah, they
Yeah.
did like a little
I
mini
got a bunch of
series
those, yeah.
back when we were in high school and stuff.
Yep.
And they came with parts for an extra ship, so if you got like the whole series, then you could like
Yes.
put together.
Yeah, they did.
It was like a Y-wing was one of the ones you could put
Yeah,
together.
I think
because I have like a couple of spare engines that never got
Yeah.
bodies.
and I think the one that came with that one was just like the core, and so it was just
yeah,
I don't remember what I did with that.
yeah.
But and then I also had an Imperial shuttle. I really have a weird fascination with shuttles. I don't get it,
They look so
but
cool though.
it's true.
Oh yeah, I got the Imperial shuttle in Lego, the new one that they came out with. Well,
Did you?
Probably 6 years ago at this point, but that was a cool set.
Yeah, mine was another mini
Really
one.
cool.
But
Oh man, yeah, that was fun. Legos, no man, I don't want to go play with Legos.
no, right? Now we should also mention that there is a super interesting documentary
Yes.
Oh
that,
yes, that's true.
that we all watched in preparation for this episode, but we didn't actually really talk about it all.
I was
But,
going to mention when you were talking about the kids like the firing pieces. It's like, yeah, that's the most hard to find Star Wars toy in history. Is the limited
Yeah, that
edition
particular
Boba
Boba
Fett
Fett.
that never actually got released and doesn't exist. But
Yes.
the jetpack fire, the rocket firing Boba Fett action figure. Yep.
Yeah, I really think we need to take a
Speaking
trip
of things
to,
that are out of my budget.
Yes.
Oh, boy.
Speaking of things that are outside of any reasonable person's budget.
I think at some point when we're all rich and famous, we need to take a trip to Rancho Obi-Wan.
I would love to. That'd be so cool.
Just to look around.
Where is Rancho? I know it's in California, but like where in California?
I thought it was in like South Dakota or something. I thought it was.
I thought it was in California.
Well, we're
have
all
to look
bearing
around.
devices that can miraculously provide us with information at the touch of a finger.
Yeah.
What wizardry is this?
And not make Steven look it up and fill us in.
Steven, fact check us. Oh, boy. Wow.
Let's see, some of my kids' favorites that we have these days. My kids love the dress up, which I was always big on the playing Star Wars, you know. And
Yeah.
it's like, but they have greater ability to do so than I did because they've each got at this point Darth Vader shirts and they've got a mask that they swap back and forth. They've got Darth Vader's lightsaber and they've got a couple different things and they I always like to play the Star Wars like that, you know. And
As well they should.
yes,
Star Wars
yes.
is awesome.
And then of course, you know, anything you can get with Star Wars plastered on it. It's not technically a toy, but my son's got a Kylo Ren sleeping bag, and Malcolm just got his 2-foot tall Chewbacca plushie for Christmas, and that one's
I'm
fun.
holding out for Baby Yoda plushies because,
That's right.
man, Baby Yoda's so cute.
Not
Their
overkill
marketing
at all.
worked on me like a charm. Oh, boy.
Looks like you were right. It is. Rancho Obi-Wan is in California.
Yeah.
My bad.
Where in California does it say?
Palmita? Hold on.
Alameda? That sounds right.
I saw it on one thing and then switched pages. Petaluma.
Sonoma County,
Yeah.
Where is that?
Petaluma,
Okay.
in California.
Yes. Because I'm making a pilgrimage to California in August.
Are you?
I'm going to Star Wars Celebration.
Oh, that's right. That's right. I forgot about that.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, my August is going to be busy. Beginning of August, Gen Con. End of August, or like third week of August, Star Wars Celebration.
So you're saying we're
September,
going to have to start recording in June to
Back
get through
to
that.
California for a Critical Role thing.
Nice.
Yeah, it's going to be
Part of the North Bay subregion of the San Francisco Bay Area.
San Francisco Bay Area. I'm going to be there in April.
There you go.
There you go.
Yeah,
So in other words, you will be our reporter in the field.
I sure hope so. I'm going to have to tell my wife about that and be like, listen. So my wife's aunt lives in the Bay Area. And we're going for spring break. We're going to go out there when the kids are out of school and stuff and go to the beach and just see her. I've never been to California. And so I think I'm going to be like, listen, wife, whether or not you're coming with me, I'm going to be gone for a day. I'm going to go to Rancho Obi-Wan. Oh, boy. Okay. Is that it then?
I believe so.
Okay.
That's all I can think of. Let us know what your favorite Star Wars toys
Yes,
were,
do
and
it.
which glaringly obvious ones we passed up
Yes,
that we
for
should have
sure.
mentioned in this episode.
Definitely. Yeah, please do so. I would actually be genuinely interested, particularly if you played with Legos. Like, what were your favorite sets? What was
Well,
your
and I mean,
first
there's
set you got?
we got the pop vinyl figures
Oh,
are
yeah.
really popular these days, and
I thought of a couple other things, too, that I was like, oh, we could talk about that. Or I could save it for another episode. So, because, like, we could talk about, like, different lightsabers, toys, and stuff.
and then
so.
these semi-animatronic toys that you get these
Oh,
days,
yeah.
like Russ's Yoda downstairs, and
Yeah.
all the BB-8s and R2s rolling around, and
Yep. And, yeah, I just want to give a quick shout out to all of you in December who listened in the United States and in Spain and the UK and Ireland and Canada and Australia and Germany and Japan and Kuwait and Mexico and Norway and the Philippines and Sweden and Thailand. I am shocked at our international growth.
yeah, thank you all for making December our best month
Yeah,
ever.
by
Yeah.
a not small portion.
We're still recording this in December, so we don't know by how much, but it's still growing. So, and it's already been larger
Yeah.
for a couple days. So, I fully expect though that it'll crash in January now that Rise of Skywalker is already released. And
Yeah,
Yeah.
but whatever. It is what it is. And my wife's cousin, whose name I can't remember, who should be listening in North Korea, or South Korea, sorry.
Yeah, if you're listening in North Korea, holy cow, kudos
Props
to
to
you. Good luck.
Yeah. But my wife's cousin, whose name I can't remember, and also to Alan, when you're the only person I know in your entire country, and I don't see downloads from your country, it means I know you're not listening.
Unless he's using a VPN. He could be in that
He's
other
not.
category.
He's not. Malta has shown up before. And I'm still waiting for South Korea to show up. Maybe she's using a VPN. I don't know. Maybe that's where the Japan one comes from. Who knows?
Yeah.
But anyway, konnichiwa to everybody out there.
Sure.
Yeah,
What? It means hello,
Yes,
Oh.
we know.
in Japanese, but not all the rest of those countries.
right? That's what I had pulled up earlier. Ross, you want to go there? All right. In Norway, hallo. In Sweden, hedge, maybe? And hola to everybody listening in España. And if you're listening in Canada, hey up there, eh? You want me to keep going, Ross?
No, that's fine. That's fine. Let's just push everyone towards
this
the
episode out
Facebook
of its
group.
misery.
Yeah. So everyone, go and join the Facebook group where you can find such
Oh, yeah.
joyous memes as the plethora that we've been enjoying over the last several
Gosh,
weeks.
so good.
It just
The
gets
meme
better.
war continues, and it's fantastic.
In this particular episode, I wanted to shout out our friend Caleb Ovard
Hey-o.
for his Christmas-themed Anakin playing Santa,
Oh, that was so funny.
where Anakin is saying, from my point of view, they were all naughty.
Yeah. And he's like wearing a Christmas hat, isn't he? Yeah.
They photoshopped
It looks
his
like
face.
it's
so good.
from like Bad Santa or something. They
Yeah.
photoshopped
Oh,
his
it's
face over.
fantastic. There have been some really excellent memes lately.
It really has.
So
And they've been coming hard and fast, too.
Yep.
So,
I forgot the rest of my outro, though. Join the Facebook group,
yes.
A More Civilized Podcast. Follow us on Twitter, @MoreCivilized.
Correct.
Go, Ross.
And now that I can jump that and do my own Twitter, you can find me at Random Paladin on Twitter, where we can talk and not hate on Rise of Skywalker so much. Just a little.
Oh, and Josh, we're sorry. We still love you. You're not dumb. We just are sorry.
Well, and what Kyler is saying is that we're not trying to hate on Rise of Skywalker and hate on the people that like Rise of Skywalker.
Right, yeah. Okay, there we go.
I said that, and Chris made a face. And I was like, "No, wait, let me
Well, I mean,
clarify."
I'm not trying to, but it just does kind of tend to happen. But no, I am actively trying not to hate on the people who like it.
We were talking about this before we recorded. We are happy that people like Star Wars. We would very much like to like this episode. We are desperately looking for reasons to like it. We just haven't found any yet.
And I
But
think
if you liked it, good for you. We are genuinely happy that you like it.
it has happened to us what happened to some people with Last Jedi. We had our hopes up, our expectations may have been, I mean our expectations weren't huge, but they were still let down. It's the Dewey meme.
It's
I
for me. It's
expected
more
nothing
akin
and
to
was
what I
still-
went through with Rogue One.
Yeah.
It's just like especially because, like I was saying before we started, it's like every like from a writing perspective, all the problems I have with Rogue One are the same problems I have with Rise of Skywalker, just 10 times more so.
Yeah.
It's even more of a mess and all of that, and so it's just this frustration of just like, yeah, a lot of people like it anyway because they don't care, don't know. And that's one of the big things for me is just realizing that there's a lot of people out there that can't tell the difference. Like, people are just like, oh yeah, this is just as good as the others, and I'm like, oh no, I'm sorry, like no. Fortunately, most of the people I meet are just like, oh well, yeah, I mean, it's got its problems. It's not like the originals or anything. I'm like, okay, thank you. Yeah. You can at least acknowledge that. We can move on.
Yeah.
If you want more ranting from Chris,
Oh yeah, go to Itinerant Baxter. At Itinerant Baxter on Twitter, where I've generally tried to avoid tossing any negativity towards people's liking Rise of Skywalker on their pages or on Facebook, but on Twitter, that's where I post all of my and retweet all of my stuff, and
it is a wretched hive of scum and villainy on Twitter, so it is the place to do that.
It is true. That's what I found. Well, and I'm also like, I've got like 50 followers on there or something. Like, yeah, nobody. I'm not really bothering that many people with that.
Yeah. And they know what they're getting.
Yeah, that's true.
Yep. Well, until next week, may the Force be with you.
Always.
I'm Anna Graves, and thank you for listening to a More Civilized Podcast.
Look at that, Ross, you lived.
I did. Hey, how'd you get out?
Puggle the Lesser. I was like, oh, there's a joke here somewhere. Okay, hold on. So I thought about it for a couple seconds. I'm like, okay, I've got it. So I told the twins that, and then they just sit there, and I'm standing there like the dog in that meme, you know, and they're just looking at me, and Kaylee just goes like this. She just face palms. She kind of looks at me and smiles and just face palms. And Elena just shakes her head. I'm just like, wow. So, because they don't say anything. And that's why Christina from the other room, so I start walking out of our bedroom. Christina from the other room, she's like, I don't think they get it, Kyler. And then Kaylee's like, no, we get it. And Elena's like, he's just not that funny. I was like, wow. You kids.